Everyone, this is Ashley Latecki Ellenboss with Skyhouse Herb School and Apothecary, and today I'll be sharing some of my favorite ways that you can incorporate herbs into your daily life. And the reason I'm recording this is a lot of my students and colleagues and friends, they're interested in plants, they're interested in herbs, but they don't know how to actually make that step into incorporating herbs into their lives without taking a big course or going through a big training. So I wanted to give you some simple ways and practical ideas for how you can start to incorporate herbs into your daily life and involve them in your daily routines. So the very first thing that I would recommend is starting with overnight nourishing infusions. I've talked about this in other videos, but an overnight nourishing infusion is a blend of herbs that steeps overnight and that you drink the next day. The herbs that you choose for these are important. It can't just be any herb. It's really a shorter list of herbs that are really focused on building nutrition and also supporting tissue health and gentle detoxification. So let's talk a little bit about first why you might want to do an overnight infusion, and then we'll talk about how to do it. So why? Why would you want to do this? Here's my overnight infusion from last night. So what I love about making overnight nourishing infusions is the ritual of it. So every night before I go to bed, I boil some water on the stove, I add my herbs, I pour the hot water, I cap it, and I know that when I go to bed, I've done something good, something that's going to support me in the day ahead. It's kind of like, when you do your meditation or when you do your prayer, the benefits of that practice might not happen in the moment. Sometimes they do. Often they do. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes later on you realize, wow, that was such an important thing I did for myself. And so making something for yourself that is nutritious and deeply nourishing, I think is a good way of saying to yourself, I care about you, body. I want to nourish you. And so it's very, very easy and quite inexpensive. The other ritual part of making herbal infusions is that you really get to know the single plants that you're using. And I recommend starting with just one plant at a time. And as you get to know them, you can blend them. But you'll really get to know the plant, and that's a great benefit. The other ritual piece that I love is composting the herbs after you make them. So when I make my herbal infusion, I brew it overnight in a jar, and then I strain it through this little pot that I have. And this pot is For Life is the brand, but there's probably a lot like that out there. But I like that it has a really large straining basket, and that will hold not all, but most of the herbs. I may have to squeeze it and dump it a few times, but all of the herbs that you've used become a ritual offering. So you can give them to your house plants, you can give them to your garden, you can have a designated tree or garden bed that you offer these to as a way of saying thank you to the plants and thank you to this great source who created the plants and have sustained them. You can also, if you don't have access to that, you can compost them, and then knowing that that compost will then be turned over and will be made into dirt and fertile soil for whatever it is you may want to grow. So I really like both of those pieces as part of the practice. Now, how do we make an overnight nourishing infusion? It's really easy. I recommend that you use a quart-sized mason jar or any glass jar, and you'll use about half to 3/4 of a cup of your herbs. And I'll just give you 3 herbs to start with. That way it's really easy for you to choose. And what you do is you fill it up, fill up your jar with as many herbs as you want, boil hot water on the stove, turn the heat off, pour it into the jar, fill it all the way to the top, and try to cover the herbs with as much water as you can. And then seal it closed so that it protects the volatile oils from evaporating and also holds the heat in, because you want it to be kind of cooking itself for a while. Then in the morning, you'll do, like I said, you can just strain it through any sort of strainer or use a little teapot or French press. And then you just drink it throughout the day. So when I wake up, I pour mine and I start drinking it in the morning. I usually try to finish mine by 3 p.m. That way I can start drinking more water, and also I'm not going to the bathroom all night long, which will happen if you drink a lot of water before bed. So these are better sort of in the first half of the day. The three herbs I would recommend that you start with for overnight infusion are nettles. Nettles is a really wonderful herb that is high in iron, calcium, magnesium. It's really good at detoxifying the body. It's really good for the skin. And I have a whole talk on nettles if you want to learn more. It's called Nettles as Mother Medicine. And this is sourced from Strob Apothecary. My friend Olivia and Sean, two friends of mine, they started this apothecary in DC. So you can go to strobapothecary.com and you can pick it up if you live locally, or they'll ship it to you. The second herb is oat straw. And oat straw is a little lighter in color. So nettles is a little bit, I would say nettles is more yang and oat straw is more yin. So if you need more energy, a little more sustenance, a little more drive, then nettles is a good one. If you're looking for a little more relaxation, a little more yin, calm relaxation, then oat straw would be a really good one. And then the third one I don't have a sample of is burdock root. And burdock root you can buy from Strobe or from other apothecaries. Mountain Rose Herbs will carry it. And burdock is a root. So if you're looking for something that's a little more earthy and grounding and sweet, if you have eczema, psoriasis, skin issues, you can use either nettles or burdock. But if you tend to run a little on the dry side, but you want something that's really robust and nourishing, then burdock is a really good choice. So either of those three would be good to start with. And that's one simple way you can incorporate herbs into your daily life. The second one is using a daily adaptogenic tonic. Now, adaptogens are a class of herbs that help to balance the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which is a long way, or is sort of the physiological way of saying that it helps to modulate stress response. That means when your stress responses go off, like are you responding when the wind rattles the branch outside your window? Do you go into a complete startle response? Are you highly sensitive? If so, you might benefit from some adaptogens, which will basically help your nervous system better figure out what is a real danger and what is not, and help you recover more quickly when you do have that stress response. Bring your heart rate and everything back down. And certainly yoga will do this for you too, and breath work, but there are plants that can support this process as well. So there's a number of different adaptogenic blends you can use. This is the one that I'm using right now. It's called Recovery, and it's made by Eclectica, Botanica, and it's not really coming into focus for you guys, so you can see it more or less. And the website is eclecticabotanica.com. These are all of the herbs are gathered or ethically gathered, wildcrafted, or grown by Thomas Easley, who's a wonderful herbalist based out of North Carolina. And so this one I really like. It has Solomon seal, Cotinopsis, Plorzy root, American ginseng. And it uses organic cane alcohol and water. And so this one is really good if you run kind of dry, if you have joint pain, if you have any weakness in your lungs, which are all things that I'm currently working on, which is why I'm taking this. And it's really lovely. And I take a teaspoon every morning. And again, an adaptogen blend, it just, again, it like gives your body a little bit of extra buffering from the onslaught of stuff from the world. Another brand that I really like is Herbalists and Alchemists. And Herbalists and Alchemists is a product line made from or created by David Winston. Now, I don't have any affiliation with these guys. I just like their products. So I'm not like getting kickback or anything for recommending them. But David Winston's company, Herbalists and Alchemists, they have a really wonderful line of adaptogenic blends. So if you go to their website, you can look at all of the different, they have adaptogen a calming, Adapt to Calm, or I think it's called Calm Adapt. They have one for men's health. They have one for women's health. They have one for more energy, for like sports and endurance. So you can kind of fine tune and find, what specifically might you be looking for. And it just becomes a part of your daily routine. Every morning, and in some cases, every morning and evening, you would take a dose of it, and the dose is written on the bottle for you to see. The third way that you can incorporate herbs into your life is by taking nature walks and using a plant identification app. Now, for those of you who are really into apps, you might already know about this one. But when I learned about this particular one, I was like, yes, because even though I'm an herbalist and I know a lot of plants, there's always plants I come across where I'm like, who are you? I want to know more about who you are. And since moving to Minnesota, which is a new environment for me, this summer there were tons of plants I was wanting to identify. So there's an app called Picture This. Picture, Picture This. And the emblem is like a little green flower with like a little picture frame. So you can look it up on your phone. I'm pretty sure it's both available for Androids and for iPhones, but it's a really nice one because you just snap a picture of the plant. It has to be in focus and you have to get a pretty wide view of it to get the whole plant. And it will show you pictures of plants. It'll often identify it for you correctly. However, sometimes you'll know, like, that's definitely not peppermint. I know peppermint, that's not peppermint. And then you can scroll through and look at other pictures of similar plants and be like, oh, this is it. And then you can read on to learn more about where it grows, different features, so that you can correctly identify it. So that's a really nice way of connecting with herbs and plants. Another one is a group on Facebook called Plant Identification. And I've been a part of this group, I want to say, for like 5 or 6 years. It has 201,000 members. That's a lot of members. And all of them are people like you and me who love plants and are curious to know what things are. So what I do is I'll take a picture, you can use your phone, take a picture with my phone, upload it to Facebook, and all you have to write is what kind of environment, like where exactly it was growing. And if you can give any details of the environment, that's helpful. So you could just, click a photo and say boggy area, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then what the cool thing is that you've got hundreds of thousands of botanists, herbalists, plant enthusiasts, gardeners who will say, oh yeah, it's this plant. And then you'll see, you can figure out if they're right because other botanists, herbalists, gardeners will click the like button. So you'll have like 20 likes on one botanical Latin name. Or you'll start to see a discussion. No, it's not that variety. That variety has blue flowers. This one has red flowers. So it's this particular type of Monarda, right? And so you'll see discussions that go on. And the nice thing is, once you get the Latin name, you can look it up on your own and make sure it's 100% accurate botanical match. So those are two wonderful resources that can get you more active outside. Another one is a product that I drink not every day, I'd say like 3 or 4 times a week, but I'm a huge coffee lover. I think growing up in a, American, Italian American family, coffee and chocolate are just huge staples in our kitchen, and bread. So once I started having children and I didn't want to have caffeine in my body any longer, I was looking for a safe alternative that would be really beneficial for me and safe to use while breastfeeding. And so I found this product called Rasa. And this is a blend of a number of different adaptogenic herbs and also really good detoxifying and grounding roots. So it's made with chicory root, burdock root, dandelion roots, and then it has the adaptogens shatavari, cotinopsis, eleuthero, ashwagandha, rhodiola, reishi, chaga, and chaga is endangered. So that one's like, they say they really are very careful with how they source things. So they make sure that all of the herbs that they wildcraft and buy wildcrafted are sustainably done. So that's a great thing I love. And it's also, this company was formed by a mother who was looking for, just like I was, an herbal substitute for coffee. So I really, really love this blend, and you brew it just like coffee. And again, from my Italian roots, I like to do it on the stove top in like a percolator pot or a mocha pot. And so that's what I use, but you can brew it in a French press. You can brew it really any way. And I am an affiliate for this company. That's because I, I buy it so much. So I'll include a link if you want to get a little discount, and then you can then I get a kickback so I can buy more of it. But there are other companies too that make coffee substitutes, like Dandy Blend is another really nice one. That's like a powder that you just stir into hot water and it froths up a little bit like a latte, and you can add milk into it. It's not as rich and bitter and robust as Rasa. It's a little bit lighter. So it depends on what you like. If you really like the bitter, heavy, dark, dense taste of coffee, then you might like Rasa more. If you like a little bit of a lighter, a lighter, sweeter type of coffee, then you might like Dandy Blend. What else can we do? How about growing herbs and growing plants? That's a really easy way to connect with plants and the natural world. Growing just regular houseplants. This is an Easter lily, really easy to grow. They're pretty happy in low light. This one is a spider plant and, or not spider plant, snake plant. And these ones require very little water and quite little light. So if you don't have a ton of natural light, these would make good friends. If you want to grow herbs, medicinal herbs, I would recommend starting off with anything in the mint family: peppermint, lemon balm, spearmint, holy basil, or tulsi. Some of those varieties are quite easy. Some of them are really hard. This is the holy basil, but all of the other mints are quite easy to grow indoors. You just need a sunny window, and that will really help you to form and bond with plants and just get to know them and get to see when they're happy, when they're not happy, what their different personalities are like. And you'll be surprised at how much fondness you start to cultivate for these friends that are in your environment every day. And then the last way that you can incorporate herbs into your daily life is to sign up for regular podcasts, for subscribe to different YouTube channels, follow different people like different herbal schools and herbalists on Facebook or Instagram, and then also become a member at a number of different herbal organizations. Let me just give you a few of my favorite. So the American Botanical Council, or ABC, the American Botanical Council, they were organized to bring together scientific research and help protect plants. So you can go to herbalgram.org. That's the name of their magazine, Herbalgram, Gram. And for $100 a year, you can have their academic membership. And what I love about this is that every week I get something in my inbox that tells me all the latest research on different herbs. So just last week, I got some research on diabetes. They did a meta-analysis putting together hundreds of studies looking at the use of hibiscus for diabetes. And so that's really helpful. I want to know this. So they'll send all of these very, very updated research articles and meta-analysis, and also upcoming talks. They have a lot of free ethnobotanical talks and other talks that they offer to their community if you're a member. So that membership does go a long way. You also get access to their whole database, which is searchable. So you can search any herb and come up with articles and also write-ups like materia medicas about each plant. So that's a really great membership. Also, the American Herbalists Guild, that's another wonderful organization that helps to promote proficiency and professionalism in the world of herbal medicine. They're also very supportive of protecting plants and environmental protection. So you can go to their website. When you become a member of the American Herbalist Guild, you get a little badge that you can use in your emails, and you also get a subscription to their quarterly magazine, discounts on events and seminars. There's symposium that they offer once a year that has amazing speakers. And there's other discounts. You'll get discounts at a lot of different retailers like Mountain Rose and Banyan Botanicals and bottle supply companies. So the benefits for becoming a student member or a general member are very high. United Plant Savers is another group which is completely focused on supporting and protecting our endangered plants here in North America. So if you are a botanist or a conservationist, you might really like joining the United Plant Savers. It's only $35 a year, and they also have a number of free resources. You get a sticker and seeds when you become a member, which is always fun. I think this year they're giving out sage seeds to help repopulate the sage population. And then a few people that you might want to follow on Instagram that I find to be very helpful. You can follow me, and I'm on Instagram at Skyhouse Herbs. Also, Bear Wallow Herbs. My friend Kara lives out in Mount Shasta, and she posts the most beautiful pictures of her harvesting her plants, and she makes wonderful salves and tinctures. So that's Bear, Bear, Wallow. Herbs. You can also follow my friend Colleen at Wild Roots Apothecary based out of Virginia. And that's Wild Roots _apothecary. And she's offering a few free classes this spring. So you can follow her and listen in on some free spring foraging classes. And then of course there's herbalists like Rosemary Gladstar, Matthew Wood, Margie Flint. All of those are worthwhile to follow too. And then last but not least, for those of you who've made it all the way through this, I wanted to share with you some of my, as a Taurus, and my love of beautiful things and jewelry. I wanted to share with you different ways you can incorporate botanical jewelry into your everyday life. So this is a necklace that I bought. These are all things I found on Etsy. I love Etsy because it supports small businesses and small artisans. So this is a necklace that is a little case. So this, right now it has a little sprig of thyme in it, and you can basically unscrew the top and open it up. And so then you could replace it with whatever herb. Maybe you are studying a certain herb and you want to become closer to it. This one is thyme because I want to remember to feel the sacredness of every breath and remember how short life is and how precious time is. So I have thyme in here for me. And you can find this necklace on Etsy at Pure Rocks Jewels. And that's PUREROXJEWELS, Pure Rocks Jewels on Etsy. Also, I found these beautiful botanical earrings that are little ferns. And so I was wearing these yesterday. So aren't these gorgeous? They're like wearing little ferns. They're little, yeah, I don't know how exactly she makes them. I think they're actual, she says on her site that they're actual fern leaves that she dips in something to preserve them. So these are actual leaves, which is pretty neat. And you can find those on 12 of Wands is her store. I have these earrings on today, which are not botanical, but these are handmade. And I love the little etchings in here. And so there's lunar, she does a lot of lunar and solar cycle etching that she does in her jewelry, and she hand beads everything. And you can find her earrings on Dancing Willow is the name of her store. And then if you want to wear botanically inspired clothing, I would recommend try to find hemp clothing is really good on the environment. It's sustainable, it's beautiful, it's long lasting. So two companies that make really wonderful hemp clothing that I really like are Sister Nettle and Sinew Moon. And Sister Nettle does a lot of printing. So she'll take different leaves and flowers and do this really interesting, there's a name for it. I don't remember what it is, but you basically can print it on and then it dyes around it. So you are left with the outline of that particular plant. And so she has just like, beautiful shirts with the sleeves printed with herbs and pants and jumpsuits. And they're all made with hemp. And then Sinew Moon makes hemp-based clothing that she has like velour jumpsuits. I mean, just gorgeous, gorgeous pieces. And these are things, these are investment pieces that you're going to have for a while, but they're very well made and just beautiful. And so you can bring herbs into your life that way as well. So I hope this was interesting and helpful. Please post any questions that you have about any of the things that I mentioned. And I'd love to hear the ways that you incorporate herbs into your daily life and your daily rituals and routines. So please leave me a comment. If you liked this talk, please click the like button, share it with a friend. Let me know what you think. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon.